This is the Braves Clubhouse Report, exclusively on 680 The Fan.
Glad to have you with us on another Wednesday edition of the Braves Clubhouse Report here on your home of the Braves, The Fan 680 and 93.7 FM. Kevin McAlpin here with you till the bottom of the hour, and we got a jam-packed show coming your way, including a visit with Nicky Lopez. That comes your way in our next segment. Coming up, we'll also get reaction from the clubhouse following last night's 5-0 win. Braves with their 12th shutout of the season. And we'll tell you what you might have missed from the box score after a very productive outing from Bryce Elder in last night's contest. Braves and Yankees wrapping up their 3-game series tonight. Atlanta goes for a sweep behind Charlie Morton. Our coverage gets going on the Ford Leadoff Show tonight at 6:05 Eastern, 5:05 Central, as Chris Domino and I get you set for all the action. What we do know is that it will be Charlie Morton on the mound for the Braves. What we don't know is who will be on the mound for the Yankees. They are still to be determined as far as their starter is concerned for this evening. So as soon as we find out, we'll pass that along to you. What we do know, Braves lineup looks very similar to what you've seen in recent days, with Michael Harris II batting second in center field. You've got Travis d'Arnaud doing the catching, hitting seventh, and Nicky Lopez, the aforementioned second baseman, will hit ninth here tonight behind Charlie Morton. Well, obviously the offense steals the show last night as it was Marcell Ozuna's 3-run homer in the bottom of the first. 24th of the year for Marcell. Braves tacked on 2 more in the fourth on Ronald Acuna Jr.'s 27th homer of the season. And really, that Ozuna homer was all the run support Bryce Elder was going to need last night. He was terrific. Through 7 innings, gives up just 1 hit. Now, he walks 3, but keep in mind, 2 of those 3 walks he gave up in last night's ballgame were to Aaron Judge, who was very quickly erased on double plays from Gleyber Torres in the 4th and the 7th. So clearly, Braves not wanting to let a guy like Judge hurt them, in this series. Had a couple of knocks in game 1, and then last night a couple of walks, a double play, and a ground out. So 0 for 2 with a couple of free passes on Aaron Judge's line. But pitching was the story of last night for certain, as Bryce Elder picked up his 9th win of the season. And we'll hear from Elder coming up in just a couple of minutes. But before we do, let's hear from his manager, Brian Snitker, get his thoughts on what was a really remarkable bounce back for Elder last night.
Really good. As I told him afterwards, it's kind of look like your old self again, and good for him. Good for him to keep fighting through things and have a game like that. It's really a feather in his cap to come out and pitch like that.
And when you're a sinker ball pitcher, obviously you get a lot of action in the infield. Picked up 3 more double plays last night. After last night's ball game, Elder leads the majors with 21 double plays induced on the season. So obviously a guy who has dealt with traffic on the bases, but knows he's just 1 pitch away from getting out of it. And obviously there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be ebbs and flows. But Elder, 24 years old, going through his first full major league season in the Braves rotation. And Snit went on to say that he's really going to benefit from those highs and lows.
Like I say, he's a first-year major league starter, too, so he's pulling layers off or whatever, as to become, the major leaguer or whatever, and he's experiencing things he's never experienced before. So, that's all things, like I say, he's had some really good to draw back on or fall on, and so it's going to be new experiences all the time, and which is what matures them and makes them good.
And obviously facing a Yankees team that's now 500 on the season, but still, I think a 24-year-old starter facing them for the first time, you might get a little overwhelmed by some of the guys they have in that lineup, most notably Aaron Judge. Sometimes you look at the jersey across the way, but nothing was going to distract him from his game plan last night. It was great to see, and the pitching really over the last 6 games has been outstanding for the Braves. Put this number out on social media last night. As far as the rotation is concerned, in the last 6 games, Braves have a 1.98 ERA. They've allowed 8 earned runs in 36 1/3. Now, keep in mind, if you take out Yanni Chirinos, he's responsible for 6 of those 8 earned runs. It would be an 0.57 in 5 of the last 6 games, and we'll see if Charlie can build on that. More importantly, Charlie get the ball over the plate a little bit more. Walked 7 batters against the Mets in his last start, but somehow escapes unscathed and gets out of that ball game without allowing a run. So we'll see if he can get better results tonight, be more attack in the zone here against the Yankees as the Braves look to break out the brooms. Well, let's hear from Bryce Elder, as obviously a focus for him has been getting deeper into ball games, being more efficient with his pitches. And here's Elder talking about that 7 scoreless inning performance from last night.
The past couple weeks, I would almost like outgroove my groove. I don't want to call it loose focus, but it was like I would get a couple ground balls, and the next thing you know, I'd walked a guy and I was down 2-0, and it was just happening quick. So tonight, just kind of, even though I walked a few, I thought they were walked in good spots, and managed them well, so I was pleased with it.
Yeah, and again, he got the ground balls when he needed, walked Stanton to start the second inning, but got the fielder's choice and a double play to end a scoreless second. Then it was a leadoff walk to Judge, and Torres bounced into the double play. Then in the seventh, another leadoff walk to Aaron Judge when the Braves had a 5-0 advantage, but no harm, no foul, as he gets the ground ball and the pop out. Matter of fact, for the Yankees, they're held to just one hit in last night's ball game. They sent just 2 over the minimum to the plate against Elder, Minter, and Yates, who came in and got the double play ball from Aaron Judge to end out the game. And speaking of Judge, here's Elder going on to talk about what it's like facing one of the best bats in baseball.
What's tough about him is he's so big that the bottom of his zone is like a sinker belt high, and that's not a good thing. Like, it's hard to make a sinker sink at belt high for most people. I mean, I would love to kind of go at him more just to kind of see. Maybe I wouldn't have, I don't know, but he's a tough at bat for me because of that. You know, you gotta mix and stuff, so it ended up working out. I worked around the walks.
Yeah, Judge is 6'8". He's a tough at-bat for just about everybody who's facing him. A much different strike zone than just about everybody else in the lineup, but I thought Elder handled himself really well last night. Picks up his 9th win of the year, and he did it in front of another sellout crowd. 42 sellouts on the season. That matches last year's Truist Park record for sellouts in a season, and I got a feeling they're going to have a new record coming up here tonight as the Braves and Yankees wrap up their 3-game series. Day off for the Braves tomorrow. Then it's a great weekend. This is always one that we look forward to. Alumni weekend as the Braves welcome a number of their legends of years past back. You'll have the parade through the Battery on Friday night. You'll have the alumni softball game that'll take place before the game on Saturday. Also have Rico Carty and Fred Tenney inducted, I should say, into the Braves Hall of Fame. That takes place in a pregame ceremony on Saturday, and then they'll wrap things up and with plenty of autograph opportunities. By the way, check out Braves.com. You can get all the information as far as the alumni, where you can find them, how you can get autographs and things and photo opportunities throughout the course of the weekend. So it's one that we all look forward to, and I know fans do as well. So it should be a great weekend of baseball. And then the Braves will welcome in the New York Mets for a 3-game series next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday before they go out on a long West Coast road trip. So plenty of chances to see the Braves here at Truist Park. And of course, if you can't get in the building, can't get a ticket, we got you covered here on The Fan. Also on the 680 The Fan mobile app, Domino and I have the Ford leadoff show tonight, 6:05 Eastern, 5:05 Central, and then first pitch at 7:20. Braves looking to break out the brooms and send the Yankees home with a sub-500 record. If that was the case, Braves would go up to 78 wins, and the Yankees would go home 60-61. See if they can close things out on a very high note against a team that's really struggling. We talked about it and try to kick the Yankees when they're down a little bit. They had that rough game on Sunday in Miami when they blew a big 4-run lead in the 9th. Marlins came back, walked it off, and then first 2 games, Braves have set the tempo early, not only with their pitching, but their offense as well. 11 runs in game 1, 5 runs last night, and their 12th shutout of the season. So we'll see if the Braves can make it 13 behind Charlie Morton tonight. And one guy who will be in the lineup will be Nicky Lopez. He's batting 9th once again for the Braves at second base, taking over at that position as Ozzie Albies is out on the IL with a hamstring issue. We'll hear from Nicky Lopez, as I had a chance to visit with him yesterday, get his thoughts on joining this team, what it's like fitting in on this group off the field, and more. That conversation's coming up next as we continue on the Braves Clubhouse Report right after this on The Fan.
This is the Braves Clubhouse Report, exclusively on 680 The Fan.
We do it every Wednesday, 2 to 2:30, right here on your home of the Braves, The Fan 680 and 93.7 FM. Braves Clubhouse Report continues. Kevin McAlpin here with you, and we're going to hear from Nicky Lopez coming up in just a moment, as I had a chance to visit with him in the clubhouse yesterday. The newly acquired versatile defender, 5 seasons in the big leagues, and he was acquired right before the trading deadline from the Kansas City Royals. Remember, the Braves acquired Taylor Hearn from the Rangers for cash, flipped him over to the Royals in exchange for Lopez, who's a guy who can play just about every defensive position. We were joking about it, and you'll hear coming up in our interview. He's got about 9 different gloves in his locker. He can play just about anywhere in the infield. You can put him in the outfield as well, and obviously versatility, such an important part of the way teams construct rosters and put together personnel here in 2023. He's appeared in 5 games for the Braves, and hopefully he's not holding this against me. We did talk yesterday. He does go 0 for 4 at second base, and he did strike out in last night's game, something that he hasn't done a whole lot of here. He punched out against Luis Severino in his first at-bat, his first strikeout in 28 plate appearances appearances. So he had gone 27 in a row without a strikeout. He does it last night, but hopefully he can get out there and get a couple of more knocks tonight. So here's the conversation I had with Nicky yesterday as he talked about his new opportunity here with the Braves.
Well, Nicky, what a first couple of weeks it's been for you in a Brave uniform. When you take a step back, how do you just sort of assess everything that you've gone through these first couple of weeks here?
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind for sure. Obviously, just getting the news that I got traded to the Braves, and then obviously you think the Royals was all I've known, and then you could quickly turn to, all right, I get to help a first place club any way I can. And so getting here, I know my role. I know these guys play every single day. So I quickly turned my mindset to how can I be available or ready when my name is called, whether that's for pinch running, late game at bat, come in for defense, to give maybe a couple guys some off days. Now it's unfortunate with Ozzie going down, but if I can get him a couple days to get healthy, that's what I'm here for. So I'm a very I hang my hat on being a team guy first, and whatever that they need me to do, I'm willing to do.
I've told this story on the air before. When I covered the Phillies in 2010, they acquired Hunter Pence. He comes from the last place Astros to the first place Phillies. He said, I gained like 38 games overnight in the standings. You probably felt the same way, right?
And I did, yeah, and I did. And it was one of those things is you're eyeing now a playoff run, and you're eyeing, maybe a World Series run, and not maybe a World Series, we're eyeing a World Series run, and it's one of those things that it's like, wow, this is pinch me, is this real kind of thing, and which is super cool. We have a tremendous clubhouse, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
We talk about this all the time on the air. When you get traded from a team that's, I'm not going to say going through the motions, but you're in last place, to one like this, the best record in baseball, do you show up 5 minutes early? Do you take a couple extra swings in the cage? Like, does that affect your pregame morale as well?
So coming here, like I said, I knew my role, and it was one of those things. It's you got to be ready in case your name is called, and so, I would be lying if I said I haven't been in the cages, early or working with Ron a little bit extra, and doing those things. So I worked with Mags and Sights every single day, hitting. They found some stuff in my swing and in my setup that we needed to iron out and work on, and I did. And I had a good 2 weeks before I played, which, like I said, I knew it was going to happen because we play the same guys every single day, which is, obviously we have studs around the diamond, but it was how can I stay ready and be ready in case my name is called to fill any spot that they need me to fill. So I, was working pretty hard, and just in case my name is called.
I know you have a million gloves in your locker. Versatility so important in baseball these days. You're a guy that can probably play 6, 7, 8 different defensive positions, right?
Yeah, the only position I have yet to play. I've played left field, but I feel like if you could play left, you can maybe bounce over to center or right. But it's catcher, and I'm not planning on playing catcher anytime soon. But yeah, so I value myself as a pretty good infielder and fielder, and I take a lot of pride in being an infielder who could play 3 positions at a Gold Glove level. I take a lot of pride in that, and so how can I, be ready to bounce around, and that's where me and Wash have been going out early and taking ground balls at third, and then moving over to short, and taking ground balls at short, and then moving over at second, and taking ground balls at second, and it's one of those things. It's whether I can give a guy a day off, get a guy, who's maybe banged up some couple days to get healthy again. That's why I'm here.
And of course, you can spin it a little bit on the mound too, as well. That had to be such an awesome day for you in New York this weekend, right?
It was unbelievable. Kind of a crazy day. It was my first start, obviously, and then to have it go that way and then end it on the mound was something you can't even write up. I couldn't even have dreamed about that, and it was crazy. So I got to end the game throwing a couple knuckleballs, and it was a good weekend.
You mentioned working with Wash. These guys have talked about him for years and the program he runs and just his energy he provides. And I'm sure for players, you guys are 120 games into this thing, but you probably feed off that energy of him, right?
Oh, 100%. He sets the tone. And it always starts at the top, with the front office, and then obviously it goes down to the trickle down to the coaches, and then obviously the players. And it's the energy right when you walk into the clubhouse. You can just feel it. And so just to be able to work with Wash every single day, he told me, he's like, we're going to get work in every single day, and if you don't come, you better have a damn good reason why you're not here, and which was great. So for the first, I think I've been here for 2.5 weeks, whatever it may be. I've been going down there and getting my work in every single day with him, and he's been telling me, what to do, how to attack this ball if this happens, how to go about it this way, and what a amazing guy he is, and I'm happy to learn from him.
I've heard so many guys come into a new clubhouse like this one, and they've said it's just they welcome you with open arms. It's just the feel of this group off the field. What were your early impressions? What were the first couple of days like for you? Because everyone has said it's such an easy transition when they come over here.
And that's the thing, is that it has helped being in the big leagues for parts of 5 years, just to be able to play against all these guys. But right when I walked in, they greeted me with open arms, with handshakes and hugs, which has been awesome. But you can truly see how much they care about each other. They obviously nag at each other from time to time. Give each other some crap, but which is awesome. But you can truly see how much they actually care about each other and how much they love one another. And it's I'm just happy to be a part of it. And like I said, you could see it with the coaches too, the way that the coaches love the guys and the guys love respect the coaches, and it's something truly special. They have something special here, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
I know you've played against the Braves throughout the course of your career. What were sort of some of your impressions watching this team from afar, and now you come over here? Does it sort of met your expectations? Yeah,
and that was another thing. Is I remember in 19 when we were here, just you can see that it's different. It's different here, and I remember even the pitching. We made a pitching change when in 19. It was my rookie year, and we were on the mound, and they turned off the lights and all the the flashlights came out, and they were doing that, and I remember just looking around and just like, what is this? This is different. And now to be in the dugout experiencing that and just seeing the fans and how much they truly care about this team and how much they back this team up is special.
Yeah, last one for you. I know on the road, the Braves get a ton of support. I'm sure you saw that in New York, but you come home here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights, you got 42,000. I mean, what does that do for you guys when you go on the field seeing that kind of support?
Oh, it just gives you a boost of energy. A packed out crowd on a Monday night, midweek, like that's something that is special, and something that to be able to experience it firsthand is unbelievable. And I know a lot of these guys can say we feed off of it for sure. So just to have the fan support every single day is second to none.
Well, you're quickly becoming a fan favorite. Nicky, congrats on all the success. Thanks so much for the time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, there's Nicky Lopez. A fun conversation with one of the newest members of the Braves, acquired at the trading deadline from the Kansas City Royals. And you heard him talk about that fan support, folks. They feel it here at home. They see it on the road. And I love what he said about being here at Truist Park a few years back as a visitor, and they turn out the lights during a pitching change. And it certainly creates quite an atmosphere here in the building, and obviously a little bit intimidating as far as opponents are concerned. By the way, Nicky Lopez, first player to collect 7 or more hits and 8 or more RBI in his first 2 starts with a team since RBI became an official stat in 1920. And of course, he had that big game on Saturday in New York. You heard him talking about not only having 4 hits, driving in 5 runs, and a 3-run homer in the 9th, but also pitching the final inning of that ball game. He did walk 1, but he got 3 consecutive flyouts from Jonathan Arauz, Rafael Ortega, and Mark Vientos as he closed out a 21-3 win for the Braves. Must have felt like Little League days once again for Nicky. Again, if you're just joining us, he is in the lineup for the Braves tonight. He is playing second base. Now, the Braves did also bring back Vaughn Grissom from AAA Gwinnett. We'll see how they decide to manage that playing time. The good news, Grissom's been swinging it well down with the Stripers, and we'll see if the Braves can find a way to get his bat in the lineup here over the next couple of days. Final game tonight against the Yankees. Lineup looks very similar to what you saw last night with Acuna, Harris, Riley, Olson, Ozuna, Rosario. Darno does the catching, hitting 7th, followed by Arcia, Lopez, and Charlie Morton on the mound. He's 11-10, a 3.71 ERA, and he's going for win number 12 tonight as he takes on a team he's seen a lot over the course of his career. So big thanks to Nicky Lopez for spending some time with us on the show. And when we return, we'll check in with Matt Chernoff, and we'll turn you over to Chuck and Chernoff as we continue right after this here on The Fan.
This is the Braves Clubhouse Report, exclusively on 680 The Fan.
Final segment on this week's edition of the Braves Clubhouse Report. We do it Wednesdays 2 to 2:30 here on The Fan. We'll check in with Matt Chernoff coming up in just a few minutes as Chuck and Chernoff come your way at the bottom of the hour. Braves 77-42 entering play here tonight. They got some help in the standings as well. Philadelphia has dropped 3 in a row. All of a sudden, Braves have opened up a 12.5 game cushion over the second place Phillies. The Marlins also suffered a defeat last night in Miami. They are now 15 games back of the Braves. Then you've got the Mets, who are just a game ahead of the Nationals for last place in the division. Meanwhile, the Braves' opponent, the Yankees, tonight, well, they find themselves in the cellar of the American League East.
Is he still talking?
I am still talking.
Oh!
And here's
shoot,
Chuck and
KMac,
Chernoff. We'll see you for the 4 leaders.
KMac, I'm sorry.
Hello, Matthew.
How is Nicky Lopez?
He was great. I hope he's not mad at me, though.
What'd you do?
Well, we chatted yesterday. We had a great conversation, and then he went 0 for 4, and he struck out last night. Matt, he had a 27 consecutive plate appearance streak without a punch-out, and it happened last night.
So that at-bat, though, that was a great at-bat.
Was it? That
was an 11-pitch at-bat.
Yeah, it was a great at-bat.
It was a fit. He is a feisty little at-bat. I never watched him in Kansas City, and I'm not going to lie, I hadn't heard of him until the Braves had traded for him. But he's a feisty, fun little AB, and I don't want to read too much into him starting again tonight, but it seems to me that the Braves might value the defense even over the Vaughn offense. Not to say that Vaughn won't get some cracks until Ozzy's back, but it seems they're going to lean on the defense at second base.
It was an amazing at-bat. I mean, he just kept fouling off pitch after pitch. Yeah. He does strike out there in the second inning. But, you know, you can't underestimate how important it is to have those kind of guys in your lineup where Ronald Acuna is on deck. He can get a real good look at what he's trying to get him out there with. So I thought it was a really remarkable at-bat while it does end in a strikeout, and he does go 0 for 4. You look at his numbers, Matt, go back 2 years ago, 151 games with the Royals. This guy hit 300. Now, he's not a big power guy, but he's got speed. He's got wheels. 22 steals back in 2021. So I think this is a guy that can really help you come October as well.
So I think the two moves that we're watching play out in front of us that neither got any attention, and if it's not a big name, we're not going to give it a lot of talk, but Pierce Johnson has been really good. Mm-hmm. Nicky, obviously, in his few starts has been really good. It's those little moves in the margins, and maybe I hearken back too much, Kevin, to championship teams, but those are always the baseline. 1995, the Braves made a couple of small moves that turned out to be much larger. Things like Luis Polonia, things like Dwight Smith, Mike Devereaux, and you're like, oh, in the moment they don't grab your attention, but then you realize how important a guy like Lopez is because he can play every infield spot. He can go to the outfield. Johnson now all of a sudden is working himself into Snit's circle of trust, which gives him another high leverage guy. Those two moves that you got for essentially nothing have paid off.
Well, and I love the fact, too, I asked Nicky about it. I said, look, when you go from a team, and I'm not going to say that you're just going through the motions when you're a last-place club, but when you go from that situation to one that you have the best record in baseball, you do it overnight. I said, is it just the cliche that we say that, you get to the ballpark a little earlier, you take a little extra ground balls or take some extra swings in the cage? He said, not at all. He goes, yeah, I am getting here a little earlier. I do have a little more pep in my step. And why wouldn't you, going from a situation where you're playing out the string to one where you got a chance to win a ring here in 2023?
So I know people, a lot of times, it's convenient. If a team's playing well, we laud the chemistry. If it's not going well, we talk about how it's missing. All you have to do is listen to the Padres and the Mets to hear about those two clubhouses and what's come out compared to Lopez, who got here and was like, oh, my God, this place is unbelievable. He's like, I don't know if people around baseball who aren't here recognize how much fun this thing is and the way this collection of guys just genuinely likes each other, which, again, if you're not winning, I guess that doesn't matter, and the winning and the losing will sway the feeling of the clubhouse. But it's a real thing the way the Braves describe it.
Yeah, no question. And I go back to what you mentioned a moment ago about finding guys like a Nicky Lopez, like a Pierce Johnson, who's given up one unearned run in 9 appearances since he came over here. I think you look at let's be honest, at the trading deadline a few years ago, I don't know that anyone was overly, excited about Jorge Soler or Eddie Rosario. He was hurt. Yeah, you were happy to get Adam Duvall back, but they weren't the flashiest, biggest names out there, but they all had a huge role in getting you a World Series title.
No, if we were living in the moment that day, I distinctly remember we were downstairs at the community center and we went, Jorge Soler? All right, he can run into one every now and again. As you said, Eddie wasn't going to play for a month. Jock had been here and had already cooled off, and we knew Adam, so there was some familiarity there, but no. I mean, come on. Like, people might have been as excited for Richard Rodriguez when they traded for him because they needed another bullpen arm. And then all those guys, which never happens that way, right, where 4 guys all contribute in a way that equals to a championship. But I mean, give Alex credit. Not everything's going to work, but he's got the Midas touch when it comes to the trades.
Yeah, he does. And even Richard Rodriguez, what did he have, 3-4 good weeks when he got here? Now, I know when it fell off, it really disappeared quickly for him. But I guess my point is he helped you win ball games. He helped you late in those high leverage spots where maybe you don't get to where you want to be. You don't get to 88 wins. Maybe you don't win a division or, you have to settle for a wild, whatever it might be. Even he had a big role in a few weeks' worth of that.
He did, and the Braves also made a trade that didn't get enough attention for this starting pitcher who wears 54. This new guy who came back here a couple of weeks ago, and that seems to be working out.
Yeah, Max was awesome. And the pitching as a whole, I put the numbers out on Twitter last night, a 1.98 ERA in the last six games for the starters, and you take away Chirinos on Sunday, it's an 0.57. So these guys
Please do.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to be full disclosure. He had 6 of those 8. But, if you take that out, it's an 0.57. That's doing some serious work.
So it is, and I find it funny, though. Like I do, the overreaction to the negative is always going to be much louder. And when the Braves had that rough patch of whatever it was, 5 or 6 starts, the panic meter around here was just, it was to a level that you couldn't even understand for a team 30 games over 500. I don't hear it the other way. I hear more of, it was the Mets and the Yankees, so I'm not impressed. And I've said you can choose to experience this any way you want. On Friday, Chuck and I were live over at the Cinema Springs and Tap House, and I said, I will choose not to be negative on a 72-41 team, and that was the record on Friday, on a team that has just given me this unbelievably fun season. If they don't win the championship, hell, there'll be enough cynicism and anger and frustration in late October. But until then, man, this has been awesome. A rough patch in the season for a week is not going to deter how much fun this has been.
No, it really has been unbelievable. And I am with you. I see the vocal minority quite a bit, probably a little bit more than you do, and try to be level-headed.
Well, you engage them. That's your problem. You engage them.
Hey, I'm just trying to get out there that this is a long year and that this is a very, very special year. And there are some folks, I think, Matt, believe it or not, who are actually kind of hoping things fall apart so they can say, I told you guys, I told you so.
Sure.
And they're going to wake up in December and go, man, we just kind of missed out on a really, really fun year for this Braves ball club. So,
well, I've always said this about sports. Like, if you're experiencing the way that you choose to be the negative all the time, go do something else.
Yeah.
Like, this is a hobby for a lot of us watching this stuff at 7:30 or 7:20 every night. And if it's not fun and it's giving you angst to that degree, I don't know. There's got to be Antique Roadshow on somewhere.
Well, I'm not going to be watching Antique Roadshow. I'm going to be listening to Chuck and Chernoff. What's coming up on the big show this afternoon?
So we're live at Mac McGee here in the Battery. We'll be here until 6 o'clock. It's a big day here for you to come out and hang with us. It's the Dan Matthews going away party. So when you show up today at Mac McGee, you buy him a drink, you give him a hug, you share your favorite Dan memory.
He sucks.
And it'll be
Wow.
That's not a memory, Chuck. That's not what we're doing today. We're being positive, and we're thanking Dan for his many years of service around here. Plus, we'll have a visit from our agent to the stars, Hadley Engelhard, to talk about all things Zeke Elliott, to talk about all things Dalvin Cook. Still one of the big holdouts around the NFL. So we get to that, plus we get ready for the Braves and the Yankees. It's a big day.
All right, well, we'll have some fun. You guys will have Domino with 680 Game Day in a little while as well. So good luck on the pop quiz. He's out there right now formulating a really difficult one, I think, for you here on a Wednesday. So best of luck to you guys.
We'll do our best.
All right, that's going to do it for the Braves Clubhouse Report. Chuck and Chernoff are coming your way next. Once again, big thanks to Nicky Lopez for his time, and we'll do it again next Wednesday right here on your home of the Braves, the Fan 680 and 93.7 FM.